Welcome to EAA Chapter 4. Tonight we will start with a VMC and IMC club meeting, followed by our guest speaker, Miss Jing Suo, who will be talking about her experiences flying as a bush pilot in Alaska, along with aerobatic training with Patty Wagstaff. We hope you enjoy tonight's meeting.
I'm Lucy Mencia. I'm the president of the Washington, D.C. 99s. And we've got Susan Passmore, who is the Old Dominion 99s. And we are very happy to present a wonderful speaker today, Jing Suo, who is 99. And she has had some really wonderful experiences flying float planes in Alaska, and then she also decided to go down to St. Augustine and talk to Patty Wagstaff and did her course, and was invited to be a CFI with Patty Wagstaff. And she's just very, very exciting and has all sorts of adventures. And, thank you for thank you, Lucy.
Hey guys, I'm Jing. Very glad to have this opportunity to share some of my experiences. I'm a commercial pilot and also flight instructor. A little bit about myself before I start talking about Alaska. I started flying about 7 years ago, and before that, I didn't know I could become a pilot because I was always told only male with a perfect body can become a pilot. Even if you have a cavity, you're gonna explode, you cannot become a pilot. So I believed that, and I never thought, oh, I'm going to fight for it or anything. So for a very long time, my dream was to marry a pilot because I just feel it's so cool. But then I met my husband, who's not a pilot. I thought that my dream would never come true. And about 7 years ago, I moved to Hong Kong, and I just want to find a job at the airport because I just want to be surrounded by airplanes. I just want to watch airplanes all day, every day. And then I saw a company, they were hiring pilots, and there is no gender limitation. There is nothing like, oh, you have to be military level of healthy to become a pilot, and that blew my mind. So I started my research on Google and found out that I can become a pilot. So that's the first time in life I felt dream. So a few months later, I came to the States and started my training. I was very dedicated on the training, so I went from zero to being a triple rated flight instructor. Then I started flight instructing, and also I got a survey job to fly all over the U.S. And 3 years ago, I was thinking, so learning different kind of flying will make me a better pilot. What about seaplane? And at that time, I saw, oh, Florida, they have a lot of seaplane operation. They have a lot of schools, not a lot, but some schools, which is really affordable. But also I saw there's Alaska, and I've never been to Alaska, so I decided to give myself a vacation plus training there. And I'm going to share some photos.
Where did you do your flight training?
I did my flight training, primary training in Oregon, near Portland. It's a small city called Hillsboro. And I did my instructor training in Vegas and Central Oregon. Actually, I jumped a little bit. I didn't finish my self-introduction yet. So I got my rating 3 years ago, and I just fell in love. It's so much fun. I want to keep flying floats because it really made me a better pilot. I will talk how in a little bit. And at that time, I only had 5 hours at that time of float time, so it's almost impossible to find a job to flying seaplanes. But I already have almost 1,000 of instruction given time. So the school where I did my training, they hired me the following year to instruct at their school. So that summer, I got a lot of flying. I teach people to fly seaplanes. And also I got a lot of Alaska time. Then last year I feel Alaska was calling again, so I just applied Part 135 company, which is a tour plus air taxi out of Homer, which is south of Anchorage, to take passengers to the remote areas to see Alaska. And after that, like Lucy mentioned, I also hooked up with aerobatics. I was very lucky, got a scholarship to do aerobatic training with Patty Wagstaff. And again, I didn't expect I would love it so much, but I did. It's so fun. And right now I'm between jobs. This weekend I'm heading to Florida for my next job. Yeah, so I've been studying whole day.
My next job is flying 737. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to fly for airlines soon. So this is the first summer I went to Alaska. It's a small town called Talkeetna. That school is fantastic. I'm not advertising because they already closed last year. But just some pictures for you to see. During flight training, you always get a small model. Instructor show you how it works, and there's actually also model of float planes, and I bought one later on Amazon as well. The background, that's Denali. If you want to explore Alaska, Talkeetna, the small town, is from Anchorage, like on your way from Anchorage to Denali. Denali is the highest mountain in America, the whole American. Just some picture of the lovely town. This is the seaplane base. We got 5 planes. That's the office. That's my instructor, and the plane we flew. That's a pacer on floats. We had some tri-pacer, some pacer on floats for training. And this is the gift I bought for myself. It says, "Seaplane pilots, I may not walk on water, but I can land on it." So after I got my rating, I just wore that. And that's the DPE, who's a legend in Alaska.
That's the DPE.
And the day before heading back to the lower 48, I explored, there was a wildlife reservation center. I was excited to see the bears, and never thought one day last year I would become a bear tour guide, taking people to see the real wild bear in the bush. And this is the pin I got, seaplane pin. So that's the first year. Really, it's a quick stay in Alaska, but Alaska is magical. It's hard to not go back. And I was talking, I felt getting this rating making me a better pilot. It's actually just 5 hours of training, including the check ride. But what I realized after going back to my flight school at that time, I was also doing flight instructing in Oregon, is soft field landing. I was lucky, I kind of just naturally know how to land soft, but when it's teaching to the students, I can tell them the theory, I can help them improve, but still sometimes I feel my student couldn't land really soft, especially the new ones. They have a hard time just then I applied the seaplane theory to it. So I'm going to show you a picture that is going to make a little bit more sense. So this is a calm day out there on the lake, and you can see the water is so calm that it just reflects the sky. And you might think, oh, calm wind is good for flying, maybe to fly on the land but not on the water. Why? Because yes, depth perception. This reflection, especially with the cloud, really make you have the illusion that, oh, how high am I above water? And as you are descending, maybe you're going to crash into the water. So actually, we call this glassy water, and it's a very dangerous situation if people are not well trained or not paying attention to use the proper technique. It's dangerous. Yeah, because you just don't know how high you are above the water. Then what do? We do, for example, if there's a tree or here's the shoreline, we can make sure at least here I'm very close to the water, but not yet, but close. Then I will transit to an altitude that is safe to be touching down on the water any moment, which means here's the lake. I don't know how high I am, but I'm prepared to landing with the proper altitude, with the proper speed. So I'm ready, configure my plane, maintain a very low descent rate, like 100 to 100 per minute, and just descending. And whenever the floats touch the water, it touch, and I will just retard power, and that's it. So I think, oh, maybe that's the way to land, to do a soft landing on the ground. So I told my student, okay, now when we are on short final to the runway, transit into a slow flight. Because slow flight, like you do it in the air, you can just keep a descent rate of 100 or 200 feet per minute, very, very slow descent. Then the same thing, you just do it close to the runway. And anytime, the touchdown is so soft. So that's what the float plane experience got me. And also, later on, I think, oh, actually this technique can be used for other operations on the ground, which is the night landing without landing light. Because when I train students for night operation, especially when I train CFI to give them some technique to train their students, for night operation, not only you just land, do a normal landing, you have to think about the worst scenario. What if your landing light is not working? You can't really see how high are you above the ground. And if you are just trying to see it, maybe you are getting too close. So during flight training, sometimes after the student get proficient on their landing, we will just switch off the landing light. Then it gets hard to judge how high are you above the ground. Then you can just use the same technique. Before you know you're not going to tap yet, but close enough. Transit to a slow flight. Then you always land soft and safe. And the other things the float plane taught me is read the cloud, read the water, read the wind. Because in Alaska, the weather report is really, really limited. We have really to learn to use all the resources to know if it's fit to fly. Then I'm going to share a little bit about the second year in Alaska, where I was flight instructing. So this is the cabin I stayed. It's actually the whole house, but I just paid like $550 per month, and including everything, it's really elaborate. And this is the vehicle we use in town.
You have a license for that too?
Oh, actually, it's funny. People say, yeah, in Alaska, half of the populations are pilots. It's just not everyone's licensed. So these are some pictures with my students. We are not only training to fly, to take off, landing on water. We also need to go to different places, make sure they know how to beach an airplane. For training, for extensive training, because we have limited hours, we normally just do it on the lakes. The third year, I got some ocean experience. I will talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the float training, including the basic difference compared with a wheel plane, is the takeoff and the landing. Flying wise, a little bit, not too much. But then the beaching and the taxi, there's no break. I was asked one time at Anchorage seaplane base, I was saying, oh, I'm ready to take off. Then the tower told me, hold short. And I was like, I don't have break. But I will pull out the map later, then you will know what I'm talking about.
They paint the lines in the water?
And also, I got some, this is Denali. And we land on the glacier, not our float plane. I took a ride with the otter. That small town, Tokina, is really sweet. The population is about 1,000. And all the companies, they are friends. They give free ride to other companies, employer, and the restaurant give you 50% off, things like that. Really, really sweet.
Yeah, was stopping the air taxi.
Yeah, there are two big companies. And this is Denali. It's out. I heard only like 20% of the people go there can really see the mountain. It's always hidden behind the cloud. So I don't have a picture of the full airplane. This is a breeze or breezy. Do you guys know what plane that is? It's a plane with only skin. No skin, I should say. And you just sit out here.
Breezy, it's like a Quicksilver flying lawn chair. Nothing in front.
Nothing. Really, not
that technical.
And this is the DPE. So the previous year I got my rating from him, and he was giving me a ride. And one summer he actually put the breeze on floats, which is funny. And then last summer is really where I start feeling I'm a bush pilot, because before, when I say I'm flying in Alaska, in the backcountry, people will say, oh, you're a bush pilot. I was but I don't really recognize myself as one, because it's still easy flying. Flight training, the environment is always easy, because if the weather is too bad, we're not flying. But then air taxi is totally different. Because the lake only start melting in May, and it start freezing in late September. So the few months are the only months that Alaska can earn their money for the whole year. And there are a lot of family company. Their whole company is relying on these few months. So there are a lot of pressure. Do you guys know what the VFR weather minimums in class golf?
Clear the clouds. Clear
Clear of clouds, what about visibility?
1 mile.
1 mile, exactly. When I was flying in the lower 48, I thought it's a joke, because 1 mile is nothing. It's a runway maybe is 1 mile. So if you couldn't see the other end of the runway, but in Alaska it's still flyable, it's still VFR. I will talk a little bit how the moment after which flight I felt myself a bush pilot. This is a screenshot from the AFD, Airport Directive, Facilitative Directive, where you check the airport information, right? I think this is not very clear. I will just read out. All the airports have that. It gives you some remarks, things you need to be aware of. And this is my first time making a flight plan to Katmai National Park, which is famous for its brown bears. So it says heavy bear and human concentration, landing and takeoff or taxi within 5 yards of bear is prohibited. You don't see this a lot, right? And at first I thought this is just some paperwork, but later in the season I really understand it, because at that lake the bear are just catching salmon there. And sometimes they're walking towards us, then I couldn't start the engine, otherwise I'm violating the rule.
So many beautiful pictures. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can you just slide through maybe some of the...
Yeah, I will. But let me just...
You've got so many nice photos.
Yeah, this is the plane. I fly the whole summer, and this is my line. And this bear just started pulling my line because I need to tie the line to a tree.
Is that a fabric plane?
This is a Cessna 206.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, I cannot turn on the engine, because if I turn the engine on, the plane will start taxiing, and of course that violates that rule, 50 yards from a bear. And this is just very common, the bear mommy with 3 cubs walking along the beach. This is the beach where everyone parked their plane. But actually, yeah, not a lot of people going there. It's very famous. Maybe you see this postcard. Just let me see if I can. This. A lot of people, at least some people I know, when they imagine Alaska, is the bear catching salmon. And that's the place, Katmai National Park, where is the home of the brown bears. It's actually where has more bears in the world. Of course, more bears than human. And my job last year was a huge part of that is taking people to there. And where that is, I'm going to show you that on the picture, on the map. So here is Anchorage, if you can see my mouse around here. And where I was is Homer, this small town where the population is about 5,000. And then we need to cross the ocean to the west and go all the way down to here. Yeah, so Brook Falls. This is the home of the brown bears.
How long of a flight is that, the 206?
You mean how long? It's about 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours one way. And there, of course, there is no cell phone signal. When you are there, you just see the bears. And maybe it's a good idea going back a little bit to see the pictures. This is our company's dock. This is when I arrived in May. It's still frozen. So, but it melts really fast. And this is, yeah, and a lot of customers went there and say, oh, why Danger Man flying? Because very funny, our company, we had 3 pilots last season, and we are all women. Because we are trying to tell them women are safer.
Yes.
And this is a picture, oh, I can zoom in actually, of my training. Someone took this picture and posted on the internet, and I found it. I was flying, and we were simulating a landing where I need to really go close to the bridge. And the lake is somewhere here, but the lake is so small, so I need to be really, really close to the bridge so I can land here, touch down on the spot my boss want me to touch down. And So no surprise, there is actually a sign by the government saying frequently low-flying aircraft. Watch out.
That is low.
That is really low. It doesn't seem so low, but when I was flying, I really feel I'm almost touching the cars below me. And so if you remember, when I arrived there, the lake was frozen, so the plane at the beginning was on wheels. And my boss wanted to see my flying skills, so she took me to this airport and asked me to land there. To be honest, before this job, I never land offset. Well, actually, I did once in the previous year. I land on a highway just for fun because that's okay in Alaska. And we were really careful. We were seeing the cars. We make sure we don't scare the cars. They're used to that. So this airport is called Nawalik, and if you look on the aeronautical chart, it's a chartered airport, but this is the runway.
It's a sandbar.
It is. So, and it's not straight, it's curved.
And it's got a big hump.
And
It's not straight.
there are trees, there is pond, and it doesn't seem small, but for me it's really small. Especially the first time we went there, and the wind it's Alaska. It's not calm. And my boss just said, land there, and I was, okay. Anyway, we survived, and she asked me to do a couple more, so I feel comfortable on that. That's the first day I feel, oh, it's really Alaska flying, fun. But not yet I feel I'm a bush pilot. And sometimes I saw people asking, oh, float plane, how do you go walk around? The plane is on water. So I'm going to show you how we go to the other side. Between the two floats in front, there's actually a line you can walk through. This is a US thing, I think, because some countries, they don't allow that because they think it's dangerous. They think if it broke during the flight, it can catch the engine and can cause some big problem. But this is very common in the US. Yeah. So this is how we cross the plane, and this is how we fuel the plane. It's a hard job. I would say a lot of physical hard work for me. And also, you guys know what a play card is, right? In the cockpit, they give you some warning or yeah, but this is Alaska. Removal of pens may result in personal injury or death. Yeah, because the mechanic don't like us to remove his pens. It's there. And also the screwdriver is actually our control lock. The first day after flying, I was asking, oh, where's the control lock? And they were like, here is Alaska. Yeah, this is just some nice days flying. It looks really pretty, but normally days like this and flying through the mountain passes is actually turbulence. So when we were talking about the IMC scenario, we were talking about the plane started shaking. And that actually just reminded me some of my flight. Again, there's the pressure of only you have a few months to earn money for the whole year. My boss, she has 3 kids, so I kind of feel I need to work hard. Sometimes I don't want to fly because I know it's gonna be turbulent, but we still go because sometimes we are just a transportation. If it's scenic flying, it needs to be pleasant, but if we're just doing transport, we have to go. And there was one time, at the very beginning of the season, when I started getting a feeling of this job, when I started to know, oh, I can do this deep, go this close to the mountains, I start feeling comfortable. I was taking a family to go to a big lake. Why they want to go to that lake? Because there's a cabin called Dick Pranicki's cabin. And that's a guy who did homestead in Alaska and filmed the whole thing about the process. If you don't know what homestead is, it means you can go to a remote place and say, oh, this is my place now. I promise to make it a better place. And if you can approve doing that after a few years, it's your property. So a lot of people do that in Alaska. It lasts until the 1980s. So a family went to Homer, the city where I work. They really want to go to that big lake. I will show you.
Excuse me, before you change the picture, in the upper left-hand corner under the leading edge,
Yeah.
it's dented?
It's not. It's probably just a reflection.
It's, okay, reflection of the structure.
Yeah, reflection, I think. Yeah.
Could also be the stall leading edge. Some of these airplanes have mods that have this curvy leading edge for short takeoff and landing. Those
I
kind
think this plane doesn't have that. I know what you are talking about.
Why is the tie out right there?
Sorry, what?
The tie out? Why is that blowing in the
Yeah, we
breeze?
have the,
Oh,
tie
you mean
out
why
all
there
the
is
way.
this, right?
Yeah.
You mean the string? Because how we always want to park. Here we have a dock, so we can tie the plane on the dock. But normally where we are going, there's no dock. It's just we find a beach, we park there, and then the way we park is always nose out. So how to spin the plane? And sometimes you don't have a nice beach. When you step on the water is already here. So in order for you to manipulate the plane, here is this thing. And we also got ropes on the float just to drag it around. Yeah. Let me.
Those eagles down there, did they ever cause
No.
issues with your planes? No.
No.
You do not want a bird strike. It's an eagle.
Oh, this one. So, this lake is called Twin Lake. It's in the Lake Clark National Park. And one of the cabin I was mentioned is just somewhere here. That family wants to go. And this is a lovely day. You can see the mountains. And that day, when they want to go, we really couldn't see things. And I saw the report of moderate turbulence. The visibility is around 3 or 4. But they are only there for one day. And you know, if we lost that tour, my boss lost like $5,000. With all that external pressure, and at the beginning of the season, I don't really understand how severe turbulence could be. We just depart. And I told the customers, or anytime if you don't feel comfortable, we turn around, we go back, don't worry. But I also warned them there is a possibility we can get in. But in order to get in here, we need to fly through mountain pass with low ceiling. Maybe we cannot get back because after landing, maybe the ceiling keep dropping. And they were like, oh, don't worry, we have fishing gears. We will take that with us. So it feels like they're really excited to be stuck there. The mountain path took about 40 minutes to go through. Everyone had their seatbelt fastened to the maximum level, and everyone's head was still hitting the ceiling. That's how turbulent it is. And I was so scared, I don't even want to turn around because I feel the mountain valley is so petty. If I turn, I can be slammed to the wall, so my only way is just keep going. And then finally we arrived at this lake. And it's my first time landing on a huge lake. Huge lake has its own problem. Yes, you won't run in short of lake, but if there's waves, the big area help the wave to develop. So my boss told me if you see a lot of wet capping, don't land. I saw it's wet capping everywhere, like huge. But here, near shore, I feel it's just like scattered wet capping. So I go, oh, that might be fine. And I'm so exhausted with the turbulence. I really want to land. And then anyway, I slow down. Like that is not like a normal approach. It's really you're slamming back and forth. Get down. At the moment I got down, the plane started doing this. Because even it doesn't look so severe, the wave is actually very severe. And the family was still so excited. And they were like, oh, jet ski! And yeah, isn't that cool? I still need to pretend, oh, this is really normal and cool. But actually, in my mind, I was super nervous because I was thinking, if the plane flipped, how do I get them out? This plane doesn't have a passenger seat on the right. So I was thinking, how would I drag the first passenger from the front seat? Then how do I push the other in the back? But anyway, it just gets more severe, and the pump is so hard that I feel my plane is going to break. Then I said, oh, maybe we need to take off again. Then I just add power after a few more bumps. I finally get out of water. But then I was so exhausted, I feel it's impossible to take this tour back because the whole trip is about 2 hours. And that mountain path is like you fly 200 feet AGL and your wing almost touching the mountain. And you are doing this, I feel I couldn't do that anymore. I prefer if we can land, we land. Then I fly over the lake. Then I found a protected area. There was a curve, like protected by trees, and I don't see any wet cap on that part. So I find a way finally to get down, and then that is also not far from the cabin where we are going to visit. Then the next problem is to make them to the cabin. I managed to taxi the plane in front of the cabin. And I told them, okay, I'm going to park. You just sit here a little bit until I start the plane. I stepped out of the plane. And you know what caused the water to wet capping is the wind. So the wind was actually very, very strong. And once I'm out of control of the plane, it just wants to go away from the shore. And I have to grab the rope. But it's so heavy, and the plane is, the wind is so strong, I couldn't. And I just keep pushed by the plane until the water is waist high. And that's glacial water, so it's freezing, yes. But finally, I didn't give up. I finally tied the plane to a tree and get them all out of the plane, all dry, and they toured the cabin. They were super happy, and I also got some time to just refresh and rest. But still, my whole boots were wet and cold. So that's the day when I felt myself a bush pilot. Because that's something no one else, no other pilot would do.
So was that a hand of God day?
Exactly.
So you would stay there for the night also?
No, after the tour, I feel, I want to go back home. And I feel I'm refreshed. I feel I can handle that flight. Especially I'm now more mental prepared for what to expect, because on the way in, I didn't expect that. And also I want to slow down because the visibility is so poor. I don't know the mountain paths, how do they curve, where do they curve. So I actually put a little bit flaps to slow down. And on my way back, I just go no flaps because I already know approximately how to get back. Yeah. And then let me see. I'll share some pictures. So this is just across where I live. It's like a 10 minutes flight from our dock. It's a huge glacier. To be a tour guide pilot, we also need to know all the places, names, history, and how glaciers formed, how deep, how long ago, etc. And this is also beginning of the season. The water is still frozen.
During the winter, you don't fly in on skis?
I don't, and my boss thinks that's too risky. Oh, and this is actually my cabin, and this is 1 of the morning. I just opened my door. That's a moose mom and baby, yeah. Yeah, moose. Yeah. Moose are very, very common in Alaska, but they are dangerous. Moose killed more people than bears do.
Right the size of a walnut. You don't want that size of a cat.
And this is
beautiful.
yeah. So the lower part is glacial water from a glacial lake called Vortex, and the other side is ocean. And where they met, the color is really, really magical.
Is that people fishing off the dock?
Oh, no. So this is our dock. You can see our plane is right behind there. And this is my boss' kids and her husband. They were just using this dock to picking something they dropped. I just found it funny.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Is that a flight station there? What's that?
This is, and actually,
Airport information,
you hear that? So I visit Homer Flight Service Station, and they even let me record it 80s. So even it's not controlled, but there are ribbon flight, like commercial flight in and out. So they have a flight service station serve as a controller. And this is another place where we take people to see the bears. It's a guided tour because we need to get people where to find the bears. And so this is a river, and here is the only spot we can land. So you know the river current won't change, but the wind change. So sometimes you want to land into the wind, but the river doesn't allow. And also, it doesn't seem narrow, it's really narrow, and the river bank is really high. And you got one spot here because other places seems quite similar. And also the sandbar. It's not uncommon in Alaska, float plane got flipped because they hit sandbar. Near Anchorage, I at least heard 2 happened last summer. And they are all air taxi, they're taking passenger. But surprisingly, after their flight, the passenger was still picked up by boats or something. They keep going on their fishing trip. Yeah, that's Alaska. And then talking about that, it's funny. Out of our lake, there's an operator flying, I think he's 182, and he crashed. Now after he's crashing, his passenger went to our place, like, oh, can we book a tour? And we were like, oh, yeah, but today is a little bit late. We normally start early, and they were like, yeah, we actually started early, but the other plane we took just crashed. We just walked down 2 hours. Oh, you really want to do this? This is the small town I lived. This is our lake. And this tiny thin thing is the Homer Spit. It's actually the second largest natural spit in the States.
What?
Like spit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then across this bay is glaciers. There are lots of glaciers there. But they can be turbulent anytime when the wind is blowing from east. Go through the mountains, become turbulent. Yeah.
Do they just hunker down for the winter?
Some people would put their plane on skis, but for my boss, she just put them on wheels and put in the hangar and do maintenance. This is another picture I mentioned about the river landing. There is the one spot we can land. After that, we have to deal with the current, try to find a place to tie our plane. Normally it's here. Then we will guide the people to walk crossing rivers and to find the bears and just watch them. Sometimes we can just follow. Oh, this is actually not their footprint. Maybe we can watch this video.
They're so big.
They are. And this is a nice day. Actually, bears, they don't like sunny days. They like rainy, cloudy days because, otherwise it's got too hot for them.
Alaska Bush Pilot for hire.
And this is that national park we take a lot of people going to realize their dream of seeing bear catching salmon.
You flew the otters as well, you said?
Beavers.
Beavers, I mean?
Yeah, the otters I was just taking ride.
They fly smaller planes too, don't they? Okay, now.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because I took a flight there.
Oh, you did?
I'm pretty sure it was a small plane. Yeah, we landed up on the
Oh, nice. And, oops. So this is, maybe I Google. So if you are interested in fly seaplane or you already had some experience, maybe you heard about Anchorage Lake Hood Seaplane Base, which is the busiest seaplane base, which is just right next to the Anchorage Airport. So it's here. It's a towered seaplane base, the busiest in the world, and you will see the 747s taking up landing here, and you will just land there.
Watch out for the birds.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the season, I didn't pass my check ride yet. I still doing training with my boss. We went to this seaplane base to pick up a seaplane that was in a maintenance shop, and she let me fly. That's my first time dealing with all these crazy things. There was a public dock, and she said, okay, here, once you start, you have to do this, this, that, and you need to tower like this. But we were in a rush for some reason, and the plane started drifting, and the tower calling, hey, is that you, the blue airplane, blah, blah, blah. And I was asking my boss, oh, help me with the radio. She said, no. She said, I don't have a mic on my side. I was okay. Then I was so busy talking to the tower, and then I was trying to avoid another just landing airplane, and I was, oh, can you take the rudder, etc.? She said, no. She said, I don't have rudder in this side. I was, oh, okay. Yeah, that's how crazy it is. That's the first time I flew a seaplane with my boss, and she just trusted me to do all that.
And you were instructing in those planes later. So you were trusting people too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is pretty much from me. Thank you for listening.
Can you tell us a little bit about flying with Patty?
Oh,
Share a little bit, you know. That must be a really fabulous experience.
so of course I did with Patty, including fly the Super Decathlon, which is a classic aerobatic trainer, and also her extra 300L, which is the, yeah, you see, almost like the air show plane. The difference is that has 2 seats, so she can instruct. At first, so of course also includes upset prevention. This is of course actually a lot of airlines also do. So in case you're in the cloud, you get upside, you get disoriented, what should you calmly do to recover? Apart from that side, make you a safer and better pilot is the fun part. Like fly upside down. It's just so fun to fly upside down. And what I really like is the roll. Especially those aerobatic planes, especially her extra 300. If you see the wing, the aileron is crowd the whole wing, and you do a roll just in seconds. It's so fun, and the loop. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I feel it's upside my stomach. But I feel the tolerance really get better with time. Like the first day, I feel I need some ginger ale, but the second day is already fine. And Super Decathlon is good for precisely correct for any error, because at the end of the course, I was doing like air show practice. I have my box. I need to start this heading and do this and show the imaginary judge and finish on heading. For the Super Decathlon, because it's slow, so it's easier to just manipulate the way you want. And the extra is so fast. Sometimes I don't know where I am, but I just feel it's so fun. And the last day I was asking Patty to just show me something she would do, but she just yeah, it was okay. And also Patty, she's so fun to fly with. She's like a kid. Sometimes I feel like a girl, super energetic. And a lot of times when we go back to our home airports and Austin Airport, she said, "Oh, let's go to the beach." And we fly so low to the water. Even I'm a seaplane pilot, I feel, oh, maybe that's too low. I feel our wings deep in the water. But she's so cool. So if you are interested, I highly recommend you to try aerobatics. Because before that, why I want to do that is also I feel that will make me a better pilot. It's not because, I feel I want to be an aerobatic pilot, but once I did it, I feel I love it. I want to do it again.
So how long was that? How many hours did you fly? How long did it take?
10 hours.
10 hours.
They have short course, and you can just do hourly course as well. Yeah.
Did you have family come out and visit and go fly with you?
So when I got my mom came, and I'm from Beijing, and we never really see a flight school like small plane around us. My mom never saw a training plane before. So the first time she saw the 152, which is 1960 something, and she was like, maybe I will drag your plane when you fly the bigger one. Or it's going to fall during the flight, or yeah, she just feels that's so old.
Any other quick questions?
You have a very inspiring flying career that will probably eclipse many of us in the room. But you're at an EAA meeting. Have you or are you considering at one point in time ever building an aircraft?
Yes, of course. I remember that was when I was a student pilot, and I was in a ground school. Oh, correction, I was already a private pilot. And the ground school instructor, he said he built an airplane, RB6 or RB10. anyway, that's the first time I heard someone build an airplane. I feel that's just so incredible, and I want to do that too. But I probably want to do a tail wheel so I can fly in the bush, in the backcountry. Yeah, that's something I really want to do, and I hope I can evolve more with EAA.
There's a lot of good designs out there, including in the float plane world, but yeah, we look forward to seeing your project when you choose one.
Yeah, breezy was expecting on that guy too.
Which airline are you flying for?
Atlas.
Great.
Do you think there's much difference flying a seaplane in Alaska than in Florida?
Florida is more like flatter, right? Alaska, the mountain is beautiful, but it can be violent.
Okay. Okay.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming out.